the Creative Constitution podcast. My name is Deborah Tamai, and I'm joined by
me,
Jess
Sebastian.
Today's episode is a real cool one, to be honest. I've been getting into it a lot lately, and it's all about AI filmmaking.
Yeah, well, just the whole AI art thing, how that's advanced so quickly in the past few months alone, and how it's being harnessed by, not only big companies now, even multi-million-dollar companies, I think, are using cheap, $10 a month subscriptions now.
Yeah.
But they're promotional stuff. So instead of, a big casino or a big clothing chain going out and getting a photographer and hiring the talent and doing a proper shoot and paying people, they're literally paying for a $10 subscription, and they're generating these billboard things that are so obviously AI art. And I think that's kind of dodgy. But today I think both of us want to discuss, because we know you guys are creatives at home, we want to discuss the filmmaking impact.
Yeah.
And things like that.
Well, there's a lot of fear in the market. I think filmmakers are so scared of what's going on because they're like, oh, people are just going to be able to generate their own movies. Now, I think they're right in some way, but also I think they're missing out on the biggest opportunity of a lifetime. To literally be able to create anything that your mind can conjure up is literally insane.
It's pretty amazing.
And it's insanely amazing. And I think I'd love to use this platform in a way to shine optimism on it. But then also we discuss the bad stuff too.
Yeah.
I think AI gets such a bad rap. I think the whole idea of AI actually, people are like, oh, it's stealing. They're very, very sort of stuck on that. But I'm sort of not really behind that whole movement. I just don't think AI is really stealing. By definition, AI creates unique content every single generation. It is something that has never actually existed in the past. And I actually think humans steal more than AI, which is a very controversial thing.
Yeah.
But I think that's the truth. When you think about it, these are language models. These are models that have learned from the past and sort of create new things based on essentially pixel generation. Yeah. So when you're creating a crab walking on the beach with spaceships flying behind it, that has actually never existed before. It's the AI conjuring up what it thinks a crab looks like, what it thinks a spaceship looks like, what it thinks a beach looks like, and then combining all those things. It's super advanced and super crazy cool, but people are just very caught up in the AI is a bad thing to be able to understand the tech behind it.
I guess on the visual artist front, it's putting so many visual artists out of business. When you look at platforms like Fiverr that both of us use for various tasks, because we love to work with people from all over the world, and people that, Australia, the cost of living's going up. So if you were to sort of hire someone to do a very simple art job here, or even a video editing job here or something, those prices would be premium.
Yes.
Whereas Fiverr's a great way to, this isn't a paid endorsement podcast of Fiverr or anything like that, but I think it's a great way to connect with artists and people that are very passionate and very hungry for work and appreciate the work and appreciate the money and are going to really put a good effort into your project. But they're people that are really being affected by this. So even now, someone that's cutting costs, even people that are looking to hire people that can do artistic jobs for them cheaply, or a job that a human would still do, even those people are being replaced now. Whether it's video editing, whether it's logo creation for a business or graphic design, something like that. So that's definitely a massive negative. And I think that's why a lot of people in the creative space are either 100% embracing it and saying, look, I'm going to use this shit to get ahead because I'm smart enough anyway to create my own stuff, but I'm just not a brilliant drawer. I'm not brilliant at drawing, or I can't paint, but I know what I want and I'm a great creator. Here are some tools. It's like a prosthetic limb for someone without that arm or that hand, right? In a sense.
Yeah.
And that's definitely what I feel like when I use it for things. And so there's those people that are going to use it and harness it and still combine it with their raw imagination. And then there's the other artistic, on the other side of the spectrum, I
That
guess you
won't
say
touch
that
it.
absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
This is we can't get jobs anymore. We can't get work anymore. This thing is the devil. Like,
I think the thing is I totally see that. And there were times where I was like, you know what, this is the end. What is even the point? We even made a podcast.
what is even the point?
We literally made a podcast about digital identities like 6 months ago.
Or like acting, how
About acting, and
actors will be replaced soon. There's no point anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we were sort of already thinking, oh, maybe is it too late? Did we, maybe we should have been actors in the 90s, whatever.
Yeah.
But so then time went by, and obviously AI at that point wasn't very good. You have those Will Smith videos of him eating pasta that were generated by the first few video generation applications,
and the hands,
and
like
they were
10
all
hands.
yeah, it
overlapped
was
of a
super
hand.
munted. Like it was just it did not look realistic. It was not good at all. But now, like, fast forward 6-7 months, and now you have OpenAI Sora, and you have Runway ML, and you got all these amazing tools that are now generating incredible things, incredible worlds, simply by a single text prompt. And it doesn't even have to be basic, because you and I used Midjourney in the early days when you had to go comma, like AR.
Yeah, when it was like
comma.
some Discord chat server, like a social platform thing, and you had to create an account and go on and wait for these bot
but the
accounts to
prompts were
send
very
you
complicated. Like,
Yeah,
and it almost made this it sort of gate kept a lot of the really good content from people that were just new to the whole thing, because if you didn't know how to formulate your prompt, you wouldn't really get a good generation.
like simplified computer coding.
That's
in a way.
it, yeah. So you had to do like the whole comma 16:9, comma ultra realistic, comma 4K, comma V6. You had to do all these sorts of things. But now you don't need to do that anymore. You can literally just go puppies in the snow, ultra realistic, cinema mode or something like that.
Yeah.
And then boom, you have something that looks insanely realistic. It's like a photo has been taken. And then if you want it to be a line drawing, you just put line drawing. Like, that's how smart the AI has become. And going back to sort of what you were saying, you got the people that embrace it and you have the people that hate it.
Yeah.
But the thing is with the arts, I think like this is in business too. You either adopt or you sort of die.
Adapt,
and you really just, you have to adapt. It's sort of all very similar. But once you adopt technology, you start to become very good at it. And I think filmmakers that don't adopt new technology usually, and this is my view, the personal view, completely could be wrong for someone else. This is my personal view. You either get ahead by learning the tools and you use it to your advantage to, one, become better creatively, and two, be able to put more work out there.
Yeah.
And that is how you build your career. And you also become more buyable, more sellable, more marketable, because you start to get all these skills. But the other thing is with AI, you need someone to prompt it. If you don't know how to prompt AI, it's not AI that takes jobs. It's the people that use AI that take jobs. I've seen this in my own workplace. I've replaced probably 4 people by now because I have learned AI tools.
ChatGPT and stuff
I've
like that.
learned to use ChatGPT. I've learned to use Zapier's alternative make.com. For anyone that's out there, check it out. It is so good, so powerful. You can automate your entire business, your entire life, and it is insane. But it allows you to do all this stuff. We use an AI tool to edit this podcast sometimes. Saves you time, saves you essentially effort that you can put towards the actual creative stuff. I would like to have more of the mundane stuff taken away from me and put that more into creative work. But for example, with creative work, I recently did Gen 48, where you have 48 hours to create an AI-generated film. And even though that experience was so hard, holy shit, it made me a better filmmaker. But put that tool in the hands of a non-filmmaker, would you get the same results? So
with that, for instance, the short animated film you made for that project, I've seen a few, and a lot of those films, especially the first time they did that competition, and not even to do with the competition, that there are a bunch of AI generated sort of short films and concept pieces on YouTube now.
Yeah.
And there's a running theme with these things. Visually, they're incredibly striking.
Yep.
Incredibly striking.
Yeah.
The sort of, it's always dystopic, I find, though. It's like
people love the dystopian.
Everyone now, for some reason, because it's AI, because it's the future, because it's, every second thing is like, or maybe like 80% of the things, maybe even more than every second thing, is a dystopic sort of thing. And it's a visually striking slideshow, basically, with some slow movement, very simplified animation.
Yeah.
There's a really bad voiceover that just force narrates to you the world or the setting.
Yes.
And apparently that counts as a film now. And apparently that wins competitions. So they just have visually striking stuff, and they're not films really. They're just little concept idea things. And again, you're a filmmaker, so yours was a film because you actually know shot composition. We had us, actors, voice act and had scenes in the film. Yeah. We had a story. We had close-up shots, a thing of the eye, a dream sequence, another scene where we're back to reality.
Totally.
And it's like the platforms don't actually care whether you're making films or not. I feel like they just want to promote things that make their stuff look good so more people buy it. So it's not really about whether you're a good filmmaker
exactly.
with those competitions.
I think the competitions are similar to festivals. They sort of have their own agendas, and if you manage to get a scene, like literally a frame that just looks insane, and it's something they can take a screenshot of and put on Twitter and be like, look at this. Obviously, that's gonna
sell their product,
go further. But look, that's a political thing. I don't know these ins and outs. It's really. I mean, obviously, creativity is subjective too, and maybe they had their own internal sort of checklist for what they're after.
Definitely, even competitions aside, there's a running theme for these AI short films. They're not really short films, a lot of them.
I think but to be honest though, a lot of it comes down to what people are able to do with these things. So for someone that doesn't know, Gen 48 is a 48-hour film festival created by a company called Runway ML. Runway ML is one of the video generation tools. You've got other ones too. You've got Pika Labs. You've got pretty much Midjourney can generate your images, and then you can put it into Stable Diffusion. There's all sorts of stuff. Now, Runway ML and Kyber are our personal favorites. Good, Now, Runway ML puts on this 48-hour film festival, and they literally give you 1 million credits to try. 1 million credits, you could make 2 feature films with that. But you only have 48 hours to use the credits, so you can't really get through that much. I think I went through like 1,000 out of 1 million, and I was like, "Whoa, holy crap!" And then by the end of the 48-hour period, I was like, "I'm so done, like so tired." But what people are able to do right now is still very limited. So I think that's why you have these exposition-led sort of montages.
Yes.
Because they can generate really amazing clips, but a lot of the video generation tools are limited to 4 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you can't really get a character to talk. So there's lip syncing, but it looks really bad.
In saying that, remember during that competition, I also used some of the credits to create some stuff. And one of the things I discovered in the last like 4 hours before the competition time was cut off.
Yeah.
You can generate more than 4 seconds.
Yeah, you can extend.
You can actually generate up to 16 seconds. So you can take one still and
but you
animate
can only
that.
extend that. You can't really like create.
You can't create animations
like
from it.
Like it's still a montage element.
Yeah, you can extend it and slightly add a bit of movement and some background movement.
That's it. So for example, let's just say you prompted.
You can't get the arm to go, hey, realistically, and go back down.
So you could put in a prompt like asteroid flying towards Earth, and you can make that 16 seconds, but it's not going to make anything other than that, So that's why I think these AI films are limited in the way that they can tell stories, because you can only really generate like very sort of, I guess, generic content. Like
animated
stills. You can't get a couple of moving characters stills. Talking to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving stills.
So, for example, in the comic that we created, because I was like, the realism is fine, looks impressive, but let's see if we can make something that Disney would like. So I decided to go down that route. So if you haven't seen Our Time, you can check it out. So that was entirely generated using AI, except for the voices, because Jazz and I did that. Hashtag voice actors. But the AI actually created its own mouth movements, because sometimes it glitches out and it just ends up like getting the characters to sort of like their mouth will sort of do some sort of movement.
And one eye will like sort of blink
sort of
and
twitch,
look over at the side or something.
And so once I had sort of put it all together, we actually did something completely different to what other AI generator prompter filmmakers do, which is they sometimes use lip syncing tools. There's a few out there. There's one called DID. You can also use Wave 2 Lip. I'll add a bunch of links. I've become very fancy with all these things because I am very passionate about it. But we ended up, so I put the whole film together, and once the edit was done, you and I were looking at the screen and we were creating the script based on what those AI little twitch movements were.
Yes.
Remember that? That was hard. So we would replay it and be like, oh, what does that look like?
How many words can we fit in here?
Yeah. Oh, this looks like an I love you. Okay, let's chuck that in there. And then the story had to be maintained, obviously, because the story was about, I won't say it. It's only 3 minutes. Go check it out.
Yeah.
But we obviously still kept the same filmmaker beats that you would in a normal short film.
Yeah.
I mean, I created that thing with storyboards as well. I sort of had an idea of what I wanted. I wanted the asteroid to go to planet to planet, inside the room, set it up. It's sort of very similar.
Yeah.
But if
the same way you would create a normal
exactly,
film.
you just put a little shot list together, a little storyboard, and then sort of all came together.
Perhaps this is something to the sort of people that are against the AI stuff and don't want a bar of it. Filmmakers, up and coming filmmakers, or filmmakers that maybe haven't had great success yet. And so that's why they're against it, maybe.
Yeah.
Guys, this could be a tool. You don't have to make your film with it.
Yeah.
You can literally, like, I'm going to use it eventually to when it becomes cheaper, because in the next 2 years, it'll become even cheaper, even more accessible to storyboard. If you can't draw, it's going to only get easier. This technology is going to become cheaper and easier to use, so like anyone can use it.
Yeah.
Create your own animated, moving little cartoon storyboards if you can't draw. And it's actually going to be faster to probably do that in the future.
Exactly.
Have your whole film mapped out, still go and shoot it like a real film and use real actors and a proper camera, and that's amazing. That's what we love here. But what an amazing tool. Like, why not
the sky's
use
the
that?
limit. Like, you literally can create anything.
Yeah.
Like for example, my weird little spider film, Webbed, it's so weird, but I really wanted to like stretch my psychological thriller muscles. And man, that thing would have been practically impossible to make in real life, because I don't have $1 million to put towards VFX of little spiders growing and being all monstrous and stuff. But I could use AI to put together this 4-minute proof of concept.
A concept to see what it would be like if you were given the budget to create something like that looks not a little bit off or a little bit cringe, but
that's it.
It's like a visual taster. It's like, here's my entree. Look what I've done with this AI tool.
Yeah.
This is the sort of vibe. This is the color palette. This is the mood. This is the style I want to create. Yeah. Here's the script. Here's a 4-minute little demo of the world and a couple of characters talking in an example scene.
Yes.
What a useful tool to use as a pitch when you're pitching your script for funding or something.
Exactly.
As well as your storyboard and whatever else you want.
And I've seen all sorts of examples of this. And you and I have seen quite a lot of examples from like celebrities as well. But in like the more independent space, I've seen huge opportunity for using a mixed reality sort of thing, where you use real life footage for most of it. So your actors playing out a scene or something like that. But then let's just say they have a dream sequence. That's when you prompt a bunch of AI tools and you can generate insane stuff, things that the world has never seen. And that is how I think you stand out. It's maybe not using the whole thing for AI, like with AI, but actually combining the tools and using your filmmaker knowledge to actually create these scenes and generations that really like add to your story. Because when you prompt Runway ML or you prompt Pika Labs or you use Stable Diffusion, you still need to know, like camera knowledge in a way, filmmaker sort of like keywords. Because when I was prompting it and I needed a close-up, you needed to be like, close-up of character, or you needed to do wide angle of this or establishing shot of this. And the AI understands these things, but take a noob off the streets, they're not going to know that stuff. So use your filmmaker brain, that juicy, lovely thing of yours, and use your knowledge to create films that freaking you've been dreaming about, or like things that have been sitting on your hard drive forever, like in the script format, because you were like, I don't know how to make a freaking
and
monster.
you're so depressed because maybe you've been working on this script for years and you're one of those people that sort of just lacks something or lacks a couple of things to make it happen or to get that next step towards creating it. Like, this could be the tool you need.
Yeah.
Just get a few shots together. Go and type in an aesthetic. Oh, this film, color palette, aesthetic, main character standing this way. Put together a little 3-minute concept visual feeler for your film. Watch that back. Read some of the dialogue while you're looking at it. Get inspired and know that you can make this happen. Maybe that little thing, I know that's like a songwriting thing, right, as well. You sort of need a bit of it to get excited about your own work. You can create something amazing, but then you hit a wall for a while where it's like, I know this can be amazing, but I have no way of making it go from on paper to fully produced full thing.
Yeah.
So I'm depressed and I forget about it because it's too overwhelming. This could just be another tool in your tool belt.
Yes.
Another step towards you realizing that piece of art fully completed.
Exactly. A great example is one of our pitch decks we recently made for a dystopian series, similar to sort of Black Mirror. Jazz and I really wanted to like delve sort of into that world because we love that series and we love sort of all sorts of dystopian content like that.
Before it was popular.
Yeah, we were into it a long
I
time
knew this
ago.
shit was coming when I was 15, man. I started writing all this stuff when I was 15, just for the record.
But anyways, we had these ideas, right? And I sort of came up with like, I forget how many episodes. I think maybe like 8 or
8, yeah.
I think it was 8 episodes. And we obviously needed to, I really wanted to put together something that could show someone what it was about. So if they just looked at it and they could see the plot, they could also be, inspired by what was there. And maybe one day we could get funding.
The synopsis of every episode with a few pictures.
And then the pictures, I literally just went to Midjourney, and some of the stuff in there obviously hasn't really existed. Because if you want to write a story, I don't want to give too much away, but if you want to write a story about like, let's just say blood sort of transplanty type things in weird dystopian lab sort of environments. How are you gonna take that? You can't Google that stuff without getting arrested. So it's like put in the AI and then I just took screenshots, saved some of the images, put it together, and I think that deck looks pretty damn impressive.
And that was ages ago. Like those pictures that you got, I think they were like this big or something.
Yeah, they're tiny.
And now you can get really big AI pictures. And then there's another thing I've been using lately. I can't remember the name of it. Even if I did, I wouldn't share it because I don't want everyone to use it. I want it to be my little secret. The secret's out.
It's just an upscaler.
But there's some really good upscalers. And that was even a year ago. I didn't even think that was a thing. Like, how is that possible?
Gosh.
If it's possible, it's definitely not going to be free. Oh, they're going to get us on this one.
Free.
Freaking free, man.
Yeah.
It not only upscales your picture to 4 times the size, but it like changes the look of it. It slightly improves it.
Yeah,
it adds more detail.
Yeah.
It smooths out certain textures.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of them. The one I'm using at the moment just keeps it the same aesthetic, but there is one, I think it's called Kriya or something.
Yeah.
And what that one does, that does a lot of things. But the main upscaling feature it has is it actually changes your picture. It changes the look of it. It doesn't just upscale it.
That's cool.
You can change a cartoon thing to look like a real human.
Yeah.
Or you can change it to look like an old like sketch or an old painting, and it literally changes the whole picture. And that's like a free thing. That's not
Mind-blowing.
like that's not your Kyber subscription, because Kyber does that, but you got to pay for each try, each attempt, and it's only video stuff.
Yeah.
This thing's free, and you can do all the pictures you want. It's wild.
Crazy. Well,
Kriya, check it out.
yeah, there's so many amazing tools. And it's not just the indie filmmakers that are using it. You recently stumbled upon some musicians that did it. So we found out about Kyber after I found
Bebe Rexha.
a Bebe Rexha music video. It's called Stars. Such a cool video. It literally blew my mind. Yeah.
That's a good song.
Don't sing it
isn't
too much more, otherwise we get copyright.
Oh yeah, we'll get
infringement.
like it'll be Spotify will be like episode ban.
Yeah,
you
but-
owe
so I watched that.
0.000.01 of a cent to Bebe Rexha.
I know exactly. Well, so I found that I saw that at the gym. I was like exercising. I was like, oh my god, that looks AI generated. And I literally just like sent it to you, and I was like, you gotta use this for your music videos.
Yeah.
I found out what they used for it.
Yeah.
And holy crap, man, we have been having so much fun creating music videos, and you've been just like becoming an AI master with all that stuff. But it's so impressive. You know, you're able to create these lore chapters for what your music means and what the story is. Like, that is just insane,
Yeah,
you know?
that wouldn't be possible
it
without
wouldn't be possible without it.
without that at
Or
all.
a lot of money.
Or, you know, the
It's
lore
the great
chapters,
equalizer.
it would just be maybe one concept picture of a character that I'd sort of draw or try to draw or something with a voiceover. But this really, there's so many tools there you can use. But let's talk about the music video front,
Yeah,
right? Because
totally.
I think that's very interesting. So I saw that Baby Rexha one. I was really impressed. And I hadn't really seen it done yet. And then you encouraged me, get on that shit. And I was like, okay, I'll get on that shit. So I got on that shit for Headache. If you haven't already checked out my music video on YouTube for Headache, it's my most popular song to date. It was the first one we dropped off the album. Check it out. I'm really proud of that video. I put a lot of work into it.
I think people should watch it just to be inspired by what you can make with AI as well.
100%.
Because like that was it was mixed reality. That's
Yeah.
what I was saying. I
So
think
this-
like that makes you different than just fully AI.
This is what I'm trying to get to, right? So people have got this stigma, oh, you're lazy or you're using AI tools. Now, I'll get back into that in a second. What I want to say first, the way I harness the AI tools, I'm very much still working my ass off, right? I spent many, many nights staying up till 2, 3 a.m. editing that music video. And you even helped me edit a lot in that last final stretch to get all the timing perfect.
Exactly. People think it's a shortcut, but it's not. It
And
still
fix little
requires
things.
a lot of work.
Well, I'll get to that. So when I was creating this thing, it's still very much a blend. The AI is doing some of the work, but we're shooting all of the footage, right? So this is real footage. This is good quality stuff that we've filmed beforehand with the thought of what we're going to turn it into, which filter we're going to add over the top, what we're going to make it look like. And then you go to work and you start generating and putting up little clips, fusing them with the real footage you've taken, choosing the level of distortion. It's a lot of work and it's a lot of creativity. And it's amazing, but it's still the artist doing a lot of work in the way I use it anyhow, right? However, now we get to the lazy part and what I'm seeing, and this is troubling, like Bebe Rexha music video, fantastic. After I did Headache, I started to see some other artists drop the same style of music videos in a much simpler way. Nowhere near like the edit or what we achieved with Headache, but still with the AI filter over the top, making stuff look really interesting. And good on them, they used real footage and they animated part of it and then combined that with AI filters. Bebe Rexha one was fantastic because they were in it.
Yeah.
She was in it. And
recognizable as well.
yeah, like you could tell she was using like a green bodysuit or something to cut the body out and it was layered.
Yeah.
It was
going in and out between it and it was really tricky. Like there was still a lot of artistic like flair on
there
that.
was, and it took a lot of work.
Yeah.
And people, not everyone that isn't up to it, people that don't understand this technology will say, oh, she's just made an AI thing. No, there was so many layers in that and that was a lot of work.
Yeah.
And yeah, it looks awesome, but the AI didn't just make that video.
Yeah.
However, this is what I wanted to get to, right? There are big artists now that are literally creating whole music videos that are just prompt based. And that's ugly.
So similar to like the exposition, like short films, essentially.
Exactly the same.
Right.
Without any real footage, without any creative blending of like an animation or something they've actually shot. It's literally just, you can tell.
Clip after clip
you
after
can
clip.
tell when real footage has been translated with a filter on it to make something else in the background. You can tell. And you can tell when it's just a random, glitchy, janky ass looking video clip that only lasts for 8 seconds and then goes to another one and then goes to another one. And I'm seeing major artists that have a lot of money doing this now.
So taking like the cheap route, I guess.
Yeah, it's so cheap and
but I mean,
it's so
who's
lazy.
gonna stop them?
Well, no one, obviously, because they've done it. But I think that's something really to look out for. Like for me, for someone that's not making really an income with music, it doesn't really have a fan base or anything. It's fine because, you know, as most of the people watching this, we're creatives that are early on in the journey, trying to learn more, trying to be the best we can be.
That's so true.
And we're experimenting, we're trying, we're doing the best we can with the small amount of resources we have. But I feel like when you're a major label artist, it's like Chris Nolan, man. Like Chris Nolan comes out with his new film and it's just AI prompts. And he hasn't filmed anything.
Yeah, that would be a little bit annoying.
Hell?
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. It's like Britney Spears makes a comeback. This has got nothing to do with Britney Spears. I'm just throwing her name out there. She hasn't done this, but there are other artists I don't want to name maybe. But say like someone as big as Britney Spears puts out a new album.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, she's made this amazing comeback. So cool. And then every music video of that
is AI generated.
It's just a little cheap 720p AI prompt 8-second clip after another 8-second clip after another, and her fans are like bought the album and they're paid like $150 to see her concert.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And she's doing this stuff. It's like,
yeah, because I guess in a way, like my own sort of optimistic view with AI is because we don't have the resources to make good stuff.
Yeah,
like, you know, we don't have the resources to do VFX.
We should use,
yeah. So I feel like you're right. That does make things a little bit more interesting.
It's someone that's at the top of their game.
They have the money to spend.
They can do it properly. They can hire people and work with other people at the top of their game and keep the ecosystem alive and flowing. It's your friggin' responsibility, guys. You big major label artists out there, you big filmmakers that have the money and the resources, don't complain about AI. Don't use it because you're the guys that need to not use it and keep the ecosystem alive. Us people that haven't got to your level yet that need tools to help us get there.
That sounds a little bit like double standards though, because it's just like...
But it should be because they have bajillions of dollars and unlimited resources. We're trying to get our ideas that are impossible for us to get out there otherwise seen. So it's a great tool.
Well, I think it should be a tool for everyone. But yeah, I guess it'll be up to the audiences to decide whether they want to consume the AI content created by your example of Britney Spears or whether they would prefer
to see. But she doesn't do that. She's awesome.
Fictional. But like, or whether they decide to not, to actually consume proper human generated things. I guess like human created creative content. Yeah. It'll be up to the audiences, I think.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't use it at all. I'm just saying like in the case of cheaply, crappily generating an entire, 3 whole music videos, if you're Elvis or something, like don't do that. You can film a proper short film quality, amazing music video. Like do it. Like I would if I could. I wouldn't use it if I could. If I could go and film the whole album of New Visions of Apocalyptica as a freaking feature-length film and then have the songs come in and have all this proper stuff, I would in a heartbeat. I wouldn't need to use any cartoon graphic sort of stylistic stuff. I still probably would here and there, but I wouldn't have to, generate the same amount.
Well, I think there's room for AI at all levels of the spectrum. That's my personal opinion. Whether they use it a lot or a little, I think that is where the line should be drawn. Because, like, I guess the higher up you go, the more budget you have access to.
Exactly.
The more people you should pay and the more humans
to
you
keep
should...
the ecosystem alive.
Creativity is a collaborative thing.
That's what it's about, right?
But yeah, I do agree though that like at the start when you don't really have a lot of resources and money, $20 a month and you can make anything you want.
Yeah.
So there are benefits there. And I think this is why AI is such a polarizing topic at the moment.
Yeah, it is divisive.
It's so divisive because there's no right or wrong. And it's like a big old gray area. But it's an exciting area. Personally, I'm very optimistic about it because I can create things that I could only imagine or only dream about. And now I can make them come true and I can show to people, look, this is my style. Because instead of paying for 10 short films to be able to show my portfolio to someone, I can now go, here are 10 AI films I've made. Look, they're not perfect. They're not, obviously you can see my 3 human short films, but look at all my other stuff. This is the sort of stuff I really want to do. Would you like to come along for the ride and help support me as a filmmaker because I can show you this varied portfolio? So I guess take it or leave it. Personally, I'd say take it, run it, freaking get good at it.
Use it as a tool.
You will get so much great value out of it. I think that's my personal opinion.
It's only going to be what you use it for. So don't complain that, it's taking our jobs, it's ruining everything. If people use it to do that, then that's their bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that the technology, it's like every time a new technology comes around, the technology isn't evil or good.
Well, they said that about computers back in the day as well.
Even the internet, look.
Yeah.
Internet. It's like this amazing blessing. It's also the cause of our absolute demise, but it also helps a lot of people get super smart and do incredible things, but it also destroys the lives of people who can't handle it, who can't deal with the power. So it's like every time humanity evolves a little step, I feel like it gets a new sort of little power.
Yeah.
And some people can handle the power and use it and work with it to make them more successful. Some people can't handle the power and get swept up in it. And it's no good for them.
That's so true. But look, what do you guys think? But look, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to use AI? Have you used AI? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to know your thoughts as well. Chat to us, message us. We're always available for a chat. I'd love to mentor anyone as well. I'd be more than happy to show you how I made my film and how you can make yours. I love seeing the community grow around the podcast as well. So let us know. Divisive topic, and it's super exciting. I love it, but man, this was Creative Constitution. And
see you in the next one.
Woo!